What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I would change in Fortnite if I was the CEO of Epic. So this post was made by, I believe, SillySocks777 on Reddit, and it did well, and it also did quite well on Twitter. So I thought I would kind of talk about this and go over what I would want to change in Fortnite. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it informative or entertaining, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you would change in Fortnite if you had the ability to. So I'm going to be focusing more on big picture things in this video. I'm not going to be really going over like changing the current meta, like bringing back the pump, or maybe like nerfing the hunter bolt sniper in some way, vaulting the goo gun. It's going to be more big picture, like changes that would go forward several seasons long rather than just the meta of one season. And the first thing I'm going to start with is going to be shorter seasons. I think this is a big thing in Fortnite. Some of the worst seasons in the game were because they were the longest. Last season, for example, Chapter 3, Season 3, was not a bad season by any means. In my review video I made talking about that season, really the main negative it had going for it was just how long it was, because it was 100+ days long. Chapter 2 Season 2 was over 120 days long because of all the delays. And if that season ended on time, I think it is potentially the best Fortnite season ever. But because it was so long and it dragged on for so long, everybody was so burnt out on the game during that season that it led to a lot of players quitting the game. So I think just keeping seasons like 70 to 80 days long, maybe like pushing towards 90, but I feel like there should never be any 100+ day long seasons, and certainly not 120 days like we saw with Chapter 2, Season 1 and 2. That is just insane. And I feel like having shorter seasons, or regular length seasons, which is how long most of the seasons were in Chapter 1, was like 70, 80 days, having these more appropriately length seasons, I feel like makes the game so much more enjoyable to play, and it makes the bad seasons feel not as bad. Like this current season, Chapter 3 Season 4, I think is the worst season so far of Chapter 3. It's not been my favorite season by any means, but it is relatively short, which makes me happy, because if there's, you know, concepts that you don't like in the game, like the chrome or all the floating POIs, it's not like you have to deal with that for over 100 days. You know, by the time you're kind of irritated or burnt out with it, there's probably only a month or so left anyways, so you are close to the end of it, and it doesn't feel like it drags on as long. So I think shorter seasons, or just keeping seasons under 80 days or around 80 days, is one of the best changes that Fortnite could make. The pacing of the game, I think, is just super important. Another thing that I think is super important and kind of plays into the pacing of the game is map changes more similar to what we had in Chapter 1, with new POIs coming in and replacing old POIs. A lot of times in Chapter 2, they would kind of just make map changes for one season. Like Season 2, we got all the agency POIs, and then the next season, all those were gone. And then there was like Spire POIs at one point, and then all those were gone the season after. There was Marvel POIs at one point, and then those were all gone the season after. The map didn't really develop as much in Chapter 2. It was kind of like a dry erase board. They would add some things and then erase it. But in Chapter 1, the way the map changed from season to season and developed, I think is just exceptional. Chapter 3 has had a good amount of map changes, but a lot of them have been more similar to what we saw in Chapter 2, or just minor changes to some of the POIs. Last season with the reality tree, we had it transform kind of like the aesthetic of some locations, but the POI itself didn't really change. Like the houses section of Sleepy Sound changed a bit into different houses. Same with Condo Canyon and maybe a few other POIs as well. But if you didn't like that POI before, you weren't going to like it after those changes, and it didn't really make the game feel fresh. And then I feel like you could say the same thing with this season. There has been a lot of map changes with the chrome spreading and kind of changing POIs a little bit, and then the POIs getting lifted off the ground and floating. But the POIs still feel the same. It doesn't feel like a new POI. It's just the same thing slightly changed. When we had Moisty Mire replaced with Paradise Palms, or Anarchy Acres replaced with Lazy Links, or Dusty Depot replaced with Dusty Divot, or Wailing Woods replaced with like the Volcano Jungle POI, those were very different POIs that felt completely different from one another. It wasn't like they just changed a POI slightly and left it at that. We were getting brand new POIs like season to season in some cases, and it made the map feel so much more fresh and playable for much longer periods of time, in my opinion. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things that Chapter 2 and 3 has lacked, is just like somewhat meaningful development with the map and making the map feel fresh over time through updates. I quit playing Chapter 2 after Season 3, or during Season 3, and then came back at the end of Chapter 2 during Season 8, and I was landing at all of the same POIs that I was before I quit playing the game. With Chapter 1, that just wasn't the case, and with Chapter 3, we have had some map changes, but for the most part, Most of the POIs that were there at launch are still there. They might have changed a little bit, but the map is still mostly the same. So I would just like to see more meaningful map changes, POIs replaced with POIs, and like the map actually develop over time. The next thing I want to see is LTMs return to the game. This is something that no matter where you go to like talk about the game or discuss the game, you've seen people asking for LTMs back, and they just haven't really been doing LTMs recently in like the past few years. And back in the day, like almost every update there was a new crazy LTM. Maybe not every update, but it was a regular thing for there to be like somewhat crazy LTMs. And we kind of get something like it, but they just apply it to the normal game. Like this past week, we had the Skywalker week with all the Star Wars items pushed into the game. And it kind of just makes the whole entire game feel like an LTM at that point. And we've had wild weeks the past few seasons that I feel like could have easily been LTMs. And not only would they have been more fun as an LTM, like imagine an LTM last week, instead of Skywalker week being pushed into the normal game mode, if there was just an LTM of the Star Wars items. And if you wanted to play with the Star Wars items and just play like lightsabers, E11, and pulse rifles only, you can go and play that. If you want to play the normal game, you could play the normal game. And I feel like at that point, everybody is happy. The people that kind of want like crazy for fun game modes and just to use those quirky items can do so. And the people that want to play the regular game can do so. But when you mix it together, it just doesn't work, because the people that want to use those for fun items just get rolled and destroyed. And then sometimes the people that just want to play the normal game get annoyed by some of the more overpowered things. I also think that there should be more crazy LTMs like we had with the Thanos mode back in the day. And I didn't play the Thanos mode. It wasn't my thing, but that was a crazy LTM. Thanos was incredibly overpowered and it was busted. But you went into that LTM and you chose to play that LTM. It wasn't like it was forced into the normal game. Imagine last season with Darth Vader. Instead of him roaming the normal island, if you went and chose to play the Darth Vader game mode, and then you had to go and get the Darth Vader suit, and then you got like a super overpowered lightsaber and like his force abilities, like it can be broken because it's an LTM and you opt into playing it, you know? And that would be more fun for the people who want to experience that thing, but also less irritating for the people that just want to play the normal game. I feel like LTMs are kind of like a perfect solution for kind of filling the needs of the Fortnite community, because you have like very different groups of players, and LTMs tackles that perfectly. I think for some reason they just haven't done it recently. It seems like they tried to like replace LTMs with fan-made things in creative, and while some of those game modes are fun, I feel like a lot of people don't want to play that sort of thing. And if you had a similar game mode set up as an LTM, they would probably be more inclined to do so. I think you bring back LTMs, replace wild weeks with the LTMs, and even make some crazy LTMs that are super busted, like instead of Thanos mode, Darth Vader mode, and people can have a lot of fun in that. Another thing I would say is be more willing to bring back classic weapons and POIs. For whatever reason, in Chapter 3, they haven't really wanted to bring back classic weapons. I could be wrong on this because I don't have like the memory of every single update that has happened to this chapter, but I'm pretty sure there's been more Star Wars items added to the game over the course of this chapter than like classic Fortnite weapons coming back into the game. It's kind of crazy. And then the same thing with POIs. We have like Greasy Tilted and then the Loot Lake House this season, and I believe that is it as far as like classic POIs go on this current map. While it doesn't need to be the entire map made of classic POIs, like I was talking about before, if you replace POIs with POIs over the course of seasons, maybe every other season or so, bring back like a fan favorite classic POI, like throw Pleasant Park on the map, throw Lazy Links on the map, throw Fatal Fields on the map, whatever it is. Throw in one of those random POIs, throw in a normal AR, a normal shotgun, a normal sniper rifle every now and then. I actually think the game would be so much more balanced right now if instead of the Hunter Bolt sniper, we just had the normal bolt. It could still one hit to the head, but it wouldn't have 3 rounds to the mag. And there's a lot of people nostalgic about that sort of thing. So yeah, be more willing to throw in classic stuff. I don't know why they haven't. I've talked about this a lot last season, but in past summer events, they would do these unvaulting events where they unvaulted a different weapon every day just for one day. So maybe one day you get the Deagle for that day, and then tomorrow it leaves, and then you get like the suppressed automatic sniper rifle, and then that leaves, and the day after that you get like the quad launcher. You would get a different weapon every day for one day for 2 weeks. That's what they would do for past summer events. And we thought that's what they would do for this summer event, and it would kind of make sense because there was that long gap where Epic was on break, where nothing was getting done in the game. And I think they would usually do these unvaulting events during the break. They would just kind of set it up beforehand and leave. So there was that long break where there was no updates and everyone was complaining about how stale the game was. And then probably the biggest complaint that has happened for all of Chapter 3 was just people wanting the old weapons back. So I feel like do one of those unvaulting events with the old weapons. You kill two birds with one stone. You're recycling content. People really want that content. And then you fill the 2 weeks in that summer with a summer event that you already know the players love and that the players will really like because they want those classic weapons. But instead of that, they chose to just do literally nothing for the summer event. So I don't really know. I feel like there's something weird going on at Epic where they don't want to use classic POIs as much and they don't want to use classic weapons as much. And I think it's really bizarre. So be more willing to use those items. Next thing I would say is to make an actual ranked mode. So I don't really play comp. I don't pay attention to comp. But I know one of the biggest things that people have been complaining about in the comp scene has been that the ranking mode is terrible. Arena is not a good ranking system. It's basically participation trophy ranked where everybody is meant to be able to get the highest rank. When I first started playing this game again in Season 8 or Chapter 3, Season 1, I played Arena a lot off stream and I got to like, I think 40 or 50,000 points that season. And I was not very good. Like I was still just getting used to the game again. But if you play a lot in Arena, you will get a lot of points. It's not a good ranking system. If everybody can get to Champion League, it serves no purpose to get to Champion League, you know? If everybody can have the highest rank, that highest rank means nothing, and the entire ranking system itself is just meaningless. So make an actual ranked mode. I'm sure somebody like Aussie Antics or Jarian or whoever in the comp scene has made several videos going over what an ideal comp mode would be like for Fortnite. But collaborate with the comp community, make some actual comp mode, and replace Arena with that because Arena is just a terrible ranking system and it really doesn't serve any purpose. The next thing I would like to see is a crown shop. So make a shop where players can spend their crowns to receive exclusive cosmetics. So if you guys don't know, you get a crown for winning with a victory crown. You get up 1 on your emote, but crowns expire at the end of the season. So even if you had 1,000 crowns this season, you have nothing to show for it at all. I think having some sort of reward be attainable in game and have that reward be exclusive to the crown shop, I think would be pretty meaningful. And then also on the flip side, each season have a skin that's maybe kind of basic that you include in the battle pass or something, and then have edit styles for that skin unlocked based on the rank that players get in the ranked mode. So make an actual ranked mode and then include a skin in the battle pass every season that has edit styles unlocked based on how people finish in ranked. I feel like those two things alone, the crown shop reward for rewarding players for crowns, and then the edit style for a skin given to players every season based on Arena or ranked, I think would be really good, and it would go a long way in encouraging people to actually grind the game. Unfortunately, something like this would never be done because how games are now, they don't want to actually reward people for playing the game and doing well in the game. All the rewards are just tied to playtime. Like you look at the battle pass edit styles, the super styles that you get for like getting to level 200 or whatever, all of that is just playtime based. It doesn't matter if you are chewing on your controller the entire time you're playing the game. If you play a lot, you will eventually get those rewards. And while, sure, it is nice for everybody to be able to unlock the rewards, if everybody is able to unlock the rewards have no value at all. Like I was saying before with the ranked mode or Arena, making it to where everybody can get the champs. If everybody can get the champs, who cares, you know? So make a crown shop and have exclusive rewards every season for people grinding crowns or getting a lot of crowns. And then the same thing with the ranked mode, put a skin out, make an edit style, make several edit styles based on the rank that people get to, and you will have people very excited to grind ranked. The Fortnite community loves cosmetics. You could still have the styles and battle passes that are like just playtime based, but I feel like reward playtime, reward crowns, and reward ranked mode, and give separate cosmetics for all of those three things. And I feel like you will have a player base very motivated to play the game and not just put in time to get rewards for XP. And I don't think that would ever happen. I'm sure there's a lot of people hearing that are freaking out because they wouldn't be able to get the rewards. But I don't know. I think having skins mean something is really cool. And back in the day when there was, you know, rare skins, now at this point it's pretty much just Aerial Assault and Renegade. I guess Purple Skull Trooper and Pink Ghoul as well. But like, you know, 2018 times there was a lot of rare skins, and when you were able to fight one of them, it was like kind of cool in game knowing that like, okay, this person is probably a good player because they have this skin. I feel like you would have a similar thing with a crown shop and the ranked mode rewards as well. But that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you guys would change if you worked at Epic Games. Like I said, I tried to like kind of focus on big picture things that would kind of shape the game for several seasons to come and improve the games for several seasons to come. But with your comment, you can focus on big things. You can focus on little things. Let me know what you would change. Let me know what you think of what I would change. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.